Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. The fire service may find it difficult to adequately tackle a major fire outbreak in the capital. The service has revealed that several of its fire hydrants in the capital have run out of water, which is a major firefighting too. Well, as the Harmattan period sets in, the fire service has intensified its public education to minimize the impacts of fire outbreaks. Joy News' Mamavi Oswabwaji visited Makola in the Central Business District, where firefighting has been a challenge for a very long time. She interacted with the Deputy Head of Public Relations at the service, Prince Billy Anaglate.
This year, before even the Harmattan, as you rightly stated, that the Harmattan have been a factor in some of these fire outbreaks that we have in this period, the fire service is able to put in several measures, preventable measures as well, including monitoring of activities of people in the markets, even on the communities where we have sent a lot of people to educate them. Even that, we had some fire outbreaks, but the good news is that all those fire outbreaks that we have, if you compare it within the same period of last year, there is a reduction, which simply means that as much as we are going to relent on their efforts, we will continue to ensure that next year we are going to have a reduction in the fire outbreaks. We will do everything possible to get to zero fire outbreaks. But even if it will occur, comparatively, we believe that it will be lower than this year. If you look at the period from even 27th to 2nd January, it sounds alarming that we have 140 fires there, 27 to 2nd,
27 December to 2nd of January 2017. Yes, we have 140 fires.
Yes, but that 140, if we speak in isolation, it looks very alarming. But if you compare it as we have done previously on some of these statistics, there is definitely a reduction in that. But our biggest worry is about the domestic fires. All these, nature of fires that we have, domestic fires outnumber all that we have. With the 140, 64 those fires are related to homes, so which should be a worry situation to everybody. But then we are also doing everything possible with our introduction of home fire safety certification, which will be rolled out, effectively next year. We are hoping we'll be able to bring the home domestic fire.
When you say effective next year, are you talking about 2017?
Yeah, 2017. Okay. I'm saying that effective next year because this year we're just launching it in all the regions. We're able to launch the home fire safety certification in all the regions. What the home fire safety certification is that every home is going to be under every obligation to ensure that you have your fire certificate, you have your firefighting facilities like extinguishers, you have your early detection and warning system. The firemen will get to every home to have a risk assessment to determine the type of risk. It could be the medium, the low, and the high risk that you have in. That will determine the type of facilities that you need there to prevent the fires, or when it occurs, you should be able to mitigate it and reduce its impact. You agree with us that several people die within few months that we had just because of the way they have the burglar-proof, set up in their homes. You get into people's home, they have a fixed burglar-proof. They don't even ensure that they have alternative exits. They don't even ensure that those burglar-proof should be the type that in case of any emergency, they'll be able to open them. They are still sieve burglar-proof within the window by barricading themselves. The fire occurs, they don't have anywhere to pass. But with this new introduction of home fire safety certification, we will ensure that every home will have the sliding burglar-proof that in case of any emergency, they will be able to use it alternative.
So this 140, are they all preventable fires?
Most of those fires are preventable. Only few ones that will say, well, accidental, that you should look at it. But even those with the accidental, there are human factor behind them, which means that they could also be prevented, provided we change our attitude, provided we are able to ensure that we have the safety measure put in place. The other thing that I also want to talk on is about some of those fires. Before even the fire service get there, they are out on arrival. If I say out on arrival, they do not go off by themselves. But because of the training, because of the education that we've given to the public, some of them are able to institute those measures within their premises by having fire extinguishers, but ensuring that when the fire occurred, they are able to use the extinguishers to extinguish the fire at the time that the fire is at its incipient stage. So it is a good news. We will ensure that everybody is able to, institute those safety measures that will spell out, that will prevent the fires, or when the unexpected happens, we will be able to reduce its impact. But what we are also planning early this year, 2017, our first target is going to be the media houses, that we are going to send people to the media house to assess them. We know you use a lot of electricity, you have various gadgets, you get into the studios, you have a wall that have a lot of combustibles with wires around it. So it is our target, as long as the media houses assist us in our fire safety education, we will also ensure that they are protected from fire.
So are you in the process going to be shutting down some media houses?
Yes, we've done it before, and if it is necessary, that is not our target. Our target is to ensure that they comply with the rules and regulations to prevent fires there. But if it is necessary that we close down any media house for the sake of protection of life and property, we will surely do that.
So around what time this year? I know you've said early 2017, but what's the specific timeline?
Well, we'll be moving on to the media houses unannounced, so I will not spell out the day.
So it could be any day, any time.
Yeah, it could be any day, any time. It could be tomorrow, it could be any day.
And your purpose would be to assess how fire ready or fire safety ready they are.
Yes, to ensure that, first of all, if they have adequate exits, that in case of any emergency, they will be able to get evacuated without any external assistance. To also determine when they have adequate fire facilities, such as fire extinguishers, early detection and warning system like smoke detectors, if they also have training into how to use those facilities in case the unexpected happens. Those are some of the things that we'll be looking at. Then we'll move on to see how the electrical wiring system are. If it is over age, we advise them. Then we also determine how they use those electrical systems. If they don't overload them, if the switches and sockets are old, those are some of the things that we'll look out for and advise here.
Okay. So one of the reasons we came to the Makola fire station, this is one of your mains, is to see the fire hydrants that you have and how ready you are, even as we see that your cars are packed. If there's any incident and you're called, how quickly you can get to the scene. So can you take us to the hydrants that you have? Do you have one immediately here?
Yeah, we have one here. Yes. Actually, hydrants are metal pipe fitting that are shipped on the main water lines. So that is the only source where the fire service depends on in firefighting. We depend solely on the water for firefighting. So hydrant is one of the biggest challenge for the fire service if they are not readily available.
Can you take us to the hydrants, and then in the process you can explain to us?
We have one readily available here, so we can move on to it and then you see how it is. So hydrants, we have a hydrant specification of every 100 meters interval. That should be along the roads and even scattered in the communities. That when you get into a community when there is fire, as soon as we start fighting the fire with the water in the tender, for us to have uninterrupted water supply, we quickly connect the delivery hose to the hydrants that would give us water. But in the absence of this, that we don't have the specification of 100 meters interval hydrant. We get into communities, you don't even have the hydrant that you have to use. We get into some, you have the hydrant, but water is not passing through. So that has been one of our biggest challenges. So I'll ask them just to open the hydrant and we'll see how it works. So you should just open the hydrant and we'll see how the hydrant works.
Okay, so fortunately you have one right in front of the station. What does it mean? If you're called that there's fire somewhere, what do? Do you fill?
Yeah, already if you look at the tender, they are all filled down. They have water to the capacity. So in case there is fire, they will move with the one in. So when they get to a community and they don't have a hydrant to give them that uninterrupted water supply, what they do is after the water is depleted in the tender or in the vehicle, then they have to drive to this place. So imagine if this is the only hydrant that is working in the Greater Accra region, they are fighting fire at Adenta and the water is finished, then they have to drive all the way. The fire will not be waiting for anybody.
Okay. But fortunately, this is flowing, right? There's water in it. How do you test if there's water?
Yeah, so he's going to open it. What he has on is the standpipe. He has the standpipe, so he shipped the standpipe onto the hydrant. Then he has the key to open it. So if it's flowing, water will definitely come. And then you'll see, yes, okay, this one is flowing.
So is this non-stop?
Is it?
Non-stop. Are you assured that always this will be flowing?
No, it's not always. That is the challenge that we have with the water company. There are times that water doesn't pass through this. If this area and then you don't have water in your pipe, flowing in the pipe, means that the hydrant will not flow at all, because it's dependent on the main water source. So at times you come here, you open it, you don't even get water at all. But today it is flowing, means that in case of any eventuality, we will be able to access this one.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a water reservoir? Do you have a tank?
We don't. We depend solely on this. We don't have a tank. Yeah.
So whose responsibility is this?
It is the water company that is responsible for the installation and servicing of this hydrant. They are to ensure that they are readily available for the fire service to use. That is why you and I pay 1% for our water consumption bill to water company to be used for the installation and servicing of the hydrants. Yes.
I think the hydrants that I have mostly seen are those not heading. This I see is well covered. What it means is that people can't easily have access to it.
Yes.
But is that helpful to the service?
It is, because like you said, those that you can see from a distance, they are called pillar hydrants. You know, pillar hydrant, anybody at all can tamper with it if you are not there. But the hidden one, before you open it, you know, you have to have all the keys to it before you be able, just to protect it. We have these ones, and for also to enable these hydrants to be located in areas. It wouldn't hamper any movement. If it's along the roads, definitely, because it's concealed within the ground, it is good for us to use and to prevent people from tampering with it.
All right, but this is not the only hydrants that you have here. So around this area, how many do you have?
Around this area, I think we have about 8. Even we have about 3 immediately just behind you here, okay, that we can move in there for us to see the situation as they are at the moment.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Prince Billy Anaglate is going to take us to another fire hydrant for us to assess the situation. Fortunately, there's one right in front of the station that has water running through it. So we're going to test another one and see. Come with us. You're still watching the AM show. And today we're out testing some of the major hydrants in Makola. This is the center of a lot of things. Mr. Anaglate is going to take us to the other hydrants. But I must tell you, I mean, Makola is a very busy place. We're going to be crossing the street. If there was an incident, this is what the truck will be doing, right?
Yeah,
you'll be crossing.
Exactly, exactly. So definitely Makola is a busy place. But when the unexpected happens, you need to ensure that you carefully make sure vehicles give you way, okay, then you can move in to do whatever is suspected. It's all about protection of life and property.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so yeah, so we're going to check the hydrant. How long would you say the walk would be from your station?
It's just a stone throw. Hydrants are supposed to be 100 meters interval. Yeah. Yes, but so we have this one not far from here. We have just one directly because it's a market area. They are able to concentrate some number of hydrants within this area, so that in case of multiple incidents, we will be able to assess those ones. Unfortunately, we will see whether all of them are giving us the water that we need.
Okay. All right. This is, I must warn you, this is a very busy marketplace. So we will not certainly at some point have a stable camera connection. We're trying to do our best to capture the moments for you right here on the AM show on this trip, which is really important because as Mr. Prince Anaglate told us, the figures from 27 December, you said, to the 2nd of January 2017, we have 140 fires that we've recorded already. Which of the regions has given us the greatest number?
Yeah, the Greater Accra region is the highest with 54 fires, and then followed by the Ashanti region. But if you look at the other side, our concern so much is mainly on the domestic ones. You understand me? In the sense that with domestic fires, that can be prevented, but with all the education that we are giving out, we know there is a reduction, of course, in it, but people should do more. People should do more to ensure that those domestic fires are also reduced. You can see we have a hydrant just right here. You can even see how people are even selling, having their wares to cover it. In case of any emergency, just imagine how difficult it's going to be.
So hang on, which of them is the hydrant? Is this the one with the...
They have the woods on, you know, the pits that they are going to leave the thing off it is where the hydrant, you know, is concealed in. So before you access the hydrant, you have to remove all that before you can access the hydrant.
Can we get a bit closer to the action?
Yes, we can.
So in the event that there's an emergency, this is what is going to happen. You would come and be lifted, things like you've just done.
That is why the men are trained, so that they are able to lift all this with ease. So in case of any emergency, they get in here. These things are covered because we are aware that people even use them. When it's open, people use them as a pit where they dump rubbish and other things to conceal it. So we normally cover this and to ensure that people, just let's go ahead and open it and find out if water is flowing through this. That in case of any emergency that we should depend on. If water is flowing, then that is good for all of us. If water is not flowing, that is why we have the problem.
Okay, we have a little boy crossing us. We'll try and get him off. Yeah, a little firefighter. Every young boy, all the little boys want to be firefighters. Yeah,
exactly, you know, because of they don't look at the danger. They look at it as something that pleases them. Even the vehicle alone with the noise, they want to be associated with it. But it's risky. We do all this at the peril of our life. Yeah.
And we appreciate it. Okay, so you're trying to find out if there's water in this as well.
So as he's turning it, you can see no water is even coming. No water. He keeps turning it. Let's see if water will come at all.
But I see little drops.
Yes, so if you see a little drop, that is not what we need to fill our tank. That is not what we can depend on. So if the pressure is very low, you can see those drops, but you can't use it. There's no water coming with all this.
So what it means is we should see it coming like we saw the first one.
Exactly. It should come from that source. If the pressure is good, then we'll be able to take water into our vehicle. But here is the case, not even a drop that has come out of the pipe. Because the pressure is very low, it can't even climb up to come out for us to assess it. That is one of the difficulties that we always have when we are to continue fighting fire. So it has even resulted to a situation where people, you know, vandalize our vehicle, even attack our men because they think that we get to, fire scenes without water in the tender. What it takes is that with the biggest tanker that we have is 3,000 gallons water capacity tender. And when we get to a scene, depending on the intensity of the fire, within 10 minutes, that 3,000 gallons water capacity can be exhausted. So you are moving out in search of water. The public thing is that you go there without even water in the tender. It is not true that we have ever gone to a scene without water in the tender. But these are some of the situations that people look at it from where they are standing. They think that we get to a scene without.
So how often do you encounter situations like this where there's no water running through the hydrants?
For these days, I've always been permanent, that you get to several communities in the situations like that. Look at the recent gas explosion situation we have at Trade Fair. The same situation we had several hydrants located within the Trade Fair itself and around the Trade Fair, but water was not passing through any one of them. So we were depending on the one at Makola. They have to drive all the way from Trade Fair to this place. Even that the pressure here was very low, that we were finding it difficult to access water for firefighting.
So as it is now, we know those who are supposed to solve the problem, that's the Ghana Water Company, but they are not, as it is, as we can all witness, they are not doing what they're supposed to do. It's been difficult for the service to be pushing this. And I'm sure that everybody watching today is asking, what can we all do? How can we, do you think, how can we put pressure on the Ghana Water Company to do what they should do? Because these fires with this weather is very dangerous.
Yes, exactly. Years back, maybe about 8 years ago or more, when the water company started to even seal some of the hydrants, we quickly had a lot of meetings with them to let them understand and appreciate the importance of hydrants readily available for us to use. We did all that we could, but it did not materialize. But each year, the fire service normally called a stakeholders meeting where we normally talk on, the contribution of other stakeholders and then to ensure that they assist in some of these fires that, we do. But it's still not working. But what we are also saying is that we'll continue to ensure that, yes, the public should also assist by putting pressure on the water company. Because if you have a hydrant in your community, when we get there, we use it to protect your life and your property. So, and you are paying for it. So you should insist that you have hydrant readily available in your
So how can I test in my little community where I live, when I see these things and they are covered? How can I also on my own try and test?
Well, the best, you cannot test it because you don't have the equipment. But if you have it within your community that you are concerned that it could be used to protect your life and your property, you call in the fire service. Then we can even come in there to assess if it is readily available for any emergency.
Okay. Any emergency lines for the fire service that we should know?
Yeah, the short-coded one is 192. And you can also call us on 0302 772 446. 0302 772 446. But then the situation also is that people engage the short-coded one, 192, when there is no emergency. But at the time that people genuinely need it, they can't access it because people have engaged it. So we are only appealing to parents to desist from allowing their children to be playing with mobile phone. That's what they use in calling those lines. And then they should also monitor those children, that people should not engage using those emergency numbers. It could be your family, it could be anybody related to you that might need the line at the time that you have engaged it. So people should just release it. Call at the time that there is an emergency, but call out as soon as you detect that there is any smoke within your home. The situation where people want to try their hands on the fire, it is when they get out of hand before they call the fire service, has never helped them. Because at the time we will get there, the situation will have gotten to a level that will not be able to protect your property. So people should call us as soon as there is any slightest detection of emergency such as fire within their premises.
Just one more thing before we go. So this road that we used in getting here is pretty small. I'm just wondering, would the fire tender, would it have made it here if there was water here?
Yes, when the situation happened, normally if the tender will not be able to get here physically, we normally connect the hoses from here to wherever the tender is just to take the water, provided we have a good pressure on it. So if you don't have a good pressure, that will be difficult even connecting hoses to it. So if we have a good pressure, no matter where the vehicle is, we'll be able to connect the hoses and have water.
Okay. Just before we wrap up, in this same environment, is there another hydrants? So that if you try this and it didn't work, was there another point around here?
We have one here, we have another one just by it, we have another one just across it. So like I said, because of the congestion here, they'll be able to have a lot of hydrants within the area. But the difficulty is water not passing through them. And I'm believing that those ones might also not have water.
How often do you check? How often do you check?
It's just periodically that they check. So we have a hydrant recovery team that move around just periodically checking on hydrants. So every 2 weeks at least, they move on to see if hydrants are there. Then we have the daily one that those who come on duty this morning, they'll be able to assess the hydrants within the area where the station is to see if there is anyone that could be dependent on. At times you get there, you wouldn't even have a single one to depend on.
Amazing. How do we fight fires successfully without water? It is all our responsibility, all of us, every one of us, to ensure that we put enough pressure on the Ghana Water Company and all those who are supposed to do the right thing. But just quickly, do these women who are selling here, are they aware of the importance of what is around them in terms of the hydrants?
Yes, exactly. We have been educating them. That is why when you get there, you realize they don't even put their wares on it. Yes.
That's Mamavi Owusu-Abuaje there with PRO for the Ghana National Fire Service, Prince Billy Anagbate there. This was what happened earlier this morning on the AM show, but we thought that it was very important for you to know, and so we brought you a playback of that. But the Ghana Water Company actually has declined comment for now, but then we can speak to the president of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals, Nana Ano Ame here, who joins us now on the telephone line. Hello, Nana. Thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
And a very happy new year to you.
Same to you, Gifty.
Okay, now we've heard the complaint from the fire service, but how much of a worry is this alert? I mean, how much should we worry about this alert that they're giving to us about water not passing through our fire hydrants?
It's nothing I do about nothing, if I should say.
Oh.
The Ghana National Fire Service Act, that sets them up, mandated them not only to fight fire, but to prevent fire.
Okay.
Now, let me equate them to the army. The army defends the country. So they go to war to defend the country called Ghana, isn't it? When the army is not at war, what do they do? They train their men and put them on fitness level so that when there is war, they will not be found wanting. It's the same thing that the act that sets up the Ghana National Fire Service mandates that they should prevent fire. So their prevention strategy is to be able to ensure that the tools that they need to fight fire is available to them at all times.
But how much can they do when there are fire hydrants? Fire hydrants are supposed to have water running through it. How much can they do when the water is not running through it?
You see, Gifty, sometimes I wonder why we pay for people's comfort to go and live in bungalows, D8, and gardeners, houseboys, cooks, and all that to boot. Yet they go out there to enjoy the privileges on the sweat of the taxpayer. Why am I saying this? Why do we sit down and say that the hydrants are not working? So you, as a chief fire officer, what do? You think out of the box. Because if Ghana Water Company, who's supposed to provide you with the hydrant, is not living up to its responsibility,
right,
what do? Do you also fold your arms and say, well, Ghana Water is not giving us hydrants that are the water running through them, so we sit down and wait. So when there's fire, then you apportion the blame to Ghana Fire Service.
So you are putting the blame squarely on the Ghana National Fire Service?
Yes. No, Gifty, let me tell you why. The solution. I don't talk just for talking sake.
Okay.
I talk and give solutions.
Right.
About 5-6 years ago, I made a proposal that since the hydrants are failing us, we could go and dig boreholes. For according to the law, I don't know that, but for every 500 meters, or even let's say
he said 100 meters actually.
500 meters, we should have a hydrant. Don't we? You see, if the chief fire service is thinking outside the box, he can come out with a proposal that would be paying for itself. Gifty, you have a car, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And because of the weather conditions in Ghana, we wash our car on a daily basis with expensive water. Are you listening?
I'm listening to you, Nana. Go ahead.
So what stops the Ghana National Fire Service saying that because Ghana Water Company is failing us, let's go and identify where we need the hydrant.
Okay.
And dig borehole. The borehole will not cost you more than 6,000, 7,000 Ghana cedis. You dig the borehole and ensure that when you dig the borehole, you have car washing bays. which are littered all over the city, isn't it?
Yeah.
So these car washing bays, if you give them a meter, they are washing cars on a daily basis, virtually 24/7. If you give them a meter, wouldn't you be generating employment with the car washing bays by using the water? And at the same time, while they're using the water, that will ensure that you have water running through that hydrant at any given time. So when you want the water is available for you to do your work.
So you're basically saying that the Ghana National Fire Service is basically not thinking outside the box, and that there are so many things they could do. For instance, digging up boreholes to feed the hydrants. Is that your proposal?
Do you need PhD to solve this problem? Again. So the chief fire officer, if he knows that he relies about 80% on water to quench fire, and there's alternatives, that if Ghana Water is failing you all the time, you can go and do boreholes, and these boreholes pay for themselves. It's not money on the it's not money you're going to draw from the consolidated fund. If you go and ask the Chancellor of the Exchequer to give you 100 million Ghana cedis, within 2 years, it will pay for itself, wouldn't it?
Okay.
So whoever that is, I heard my good friend Billy moaning that Ghana Water Company has let them down. Their hydrants are not working. So the solution that I've given them, have they looked at it?
So this solution that you're talking about, is it a proposal that you sent to the fire service?
About 6-7 years ago, it was.
And what was the response?
They did not even put it. They did not even look at it. Just put it in the bin.
Wow. Wow. What do you think for looking at all that's happening, what do you think that ordinary, citizens could do to hold the fire service accountable? Because from your explanation, the fire service can do something that they are not. And so how do we hold them accountable? How do we get them to do the work that we're paying them to do?
Yeah, so you are on the right track. So you grill them, you call them, and then you get people like myself who are advocates. And then who will then tell them what they are not doing right. And if they listen to us, then Ghana will be a better place for all of us.
Is that enough? Will that work? Because from what the discussion we're having at the moment, we've done that already, and the situation is still the same.
Is what?
From the conversation that we're just having, this is something that we have done. But is that enough? Will that work?
But we are complaining about hydrants, isn't it? Now, I've proffered the solution for hydrants. Okay. There's another thing that the Ghana National Fire Service also needs to take cognizance of. It's about something that you may think that is not even connected to the Ghana National Fire Service. But it's about a gym. You, as the media, go to the chief fire officer and ask him which of his stations have a gym. And then when he gives you the reason, he gives you the answer, or he will be able to explain why I'm asking that they have a gym. Then our next conversation, I will tell you why I'm asking that the Ghana National Fire Service will have a gym. Okay.
I was just trying to find out if there would be any legal ways of, holding them accountable. But I would say a very big thank you to you, Nana.
You're welcome.
Okay, that is Nana Ano Amehie, president of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals, there bemoaning what he believes has been. He says the Ghana National Fire Service is basically not thinking outside the box to make sure that water flows through the hydrants. And he says about 6 years ago, he put together some proposal and gave them something that they could work with, but they have not done much with that. Okay.